Okay, the stupid fucking dragon motherfucker has single-handedly spiked rain usage.
Okay, I'm going to that guy. It's technically not the Iron Jugulus that's Spike Drain. It is the strangest thing of it is Dondozo being a problem and people tearing that thing into electric to slam Dondozo with a 100 accuracy Thunder in the Rain.
Except that thing also gets Hurricane.
That too.
No, it's the rain, bitch. Okay, going back to my point. Trying to focus.
Focusing.
And not just... Because I want to also, before we end this recording, build to this whole other point. So... basically... with... Pokémon... the point that I was building to was that there we go.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Didn't even need the TM. And you got that one. That would be super helpful. Anyway. Pokemon? Looping back. Oh, wait. Smogon's item restriction, and then I was building to a broader point of... I like the restrictions because of the team synergy and everything. Perfect time for that. And I was going to basically build to this other point that... Oh, I'm going to finish my... That'll help, because that thing is... This thing is Hariyama on crack.
Puny mortal. Though that also means it's not getting its defenses dropped, which is mildly annoying.
Yes, but... This is the thickest boy. You do not beat Iron Hands. Nobody beats Iron Hands. It's electric fighting and it's basically Hariyama on crack cocaine.
It's beautiful.
Anyway. Hold on. Moving back. Oh, wait. Got a bit distracted. I remember my point now. I remember the other thing I was going to say now, and then I can loop back to kind of countering some of Brian and Sean's other points, because I had a wider point for something I wanted to talk about. Basically, Smogon players, and this even applies to VGC recently, where people are starting to get incredibly butthurt that Game Freak is starting to restrict transfer-only moves and not allow you to use them.
Damn it. Damn it, I needed that. Come on, baby. Crit. Crit. Crit result the item. That would be hilarious.
When I didn't need to go on that tirade. I'm sorry, but no. Restricting transfer only is the best thing Game Freak did, and I will even throw VGC people under the bus. You're just fucking butthurt that you can't transfer up. Which is funny, because VGC, in a lot of ways, started making it so if you transferred something up, you had to reset the moves and could only use the allowed moves in a game anyway. Because I'm sorry, transfer only shit was a fucking mistake. Because no, none of you, like, we always end up going on this specific rant when you know what the fuck I'm talking about. You know what the fuck I'm talking about, and I always steal someone's joke. None of you legitimately own that fucking, like, Wish Chansey from 2004. You have an illegally ginned, like...
Or we have, the other thing, well, it's not exactly the same. Remember, the one guy, after bringing the, like, eruption, he ran to that tournament, and because it was eruption, he ran it literally steamrolled the tournament. They were like, yeah, event-only moves are banned now.
They let you transfer Pokemon up, and they force you to use a mark on the transferred Pokemon to reset the moves to only use moves in the game they're currently in. And now people are getting butthurt, and this applies a bit more to Smogon players that are trying to play Smogon games on official hardware. Smogon players are butthurt that they are now restricting transfer moves and resetting a Pokemon as it enters a game. When no, I'm sorry, I am willing to give up a few coverage options on a Pokemon. I am willing to give up a few coverage options on a Pokemon if this stops someone from transferring up a oddly specific stupid event from 15 plus years ago, going into the casual online, because they never banned transfer only moves in the casual unranked, and this stops someone from taking that, like, stupid Heatran with eruption.
But remember, it's your fault if you didn't know that there was an event Heatran with eruption.
That is the most... Alright. Before I shift the discussion, I need to shoot that stupid argument. So many of those Salt compilation channels literally did the dumbest fucking thing where they would go on Showdown. It's like, Eruption Heatran defeats Salty Noob. It's like, and they would literally, it's like, dude, if you didn't know, Heatran had an event that came from, like, the Pokemon Ranger games that gave Heatran Eruption. That is your fault. Do your damn research before you go in an open format. My god, I'm not cheating. You're just an idiot. Even though, why should someone getting into competitive, why should they need to know that crap? If they know what they saw, I'm sorry.
If you don't know every facet of the series, you're not a real fan. That shows you're obviously just a filthy casual.
That is literally how those Salt compilations work.
That's why I don't watch those channels.
And it makes me disrespect a lot of those people, because I'm sorry, you're abusing usually Smogon's dumb open rules.
Because that's the other thing, Smogon is, because these moves and certain interactions with certain mechanics don't exist, Smogon is just running off, they think that's how it would be designed, when we actually don't know if that's how these moves would interact with these mechanics. Like the whole hidden power turning into the direct max move of the type, when because hidden power isn't in Sword and Shield, we don't know if it would do that.
There's no evidence.
It could just be a max strike that it deals the type damage of those, of whatever type the hidden power is. Like,
we went on this rant before.
Because it's true, because, like, the funny thing is, it's because in Sword and Shield we have both examples for the hidden power argument of the elite abilities are still max strike. They just deal the type damage of a said type and will get whatever boost or decreases based on weather or terrains of the type. But you then also have Weather Ball, which will actually change into the proper one. But because it changes into the proper one underneath the weather, it itself cannot set those weathers,
Yes.
it will become Max Flare under Sun, but only under Sun.
And my point here, the reason, if I'm riffing on Smogon and so many of those stupid Salt compilation channels, first of all, you have to go on Showdown and use basically a format that what always fucking irked me, and this is just, again, my tirade, is the kind of fucking audacity with people.
Now, to be fair, Wiz Smogon compared to an actual fight in the, official game, I will give you that because it is, Smogon. What's the, command to basically pull up, a Pokemon's entire move list? Isn't it, /stats?
It's not, exclamation point data.
That. I will be fair and say, because you are on Smogon,
well, you're on Showdown, and Showdown uses Smogon as a base.
My point is...
And you can get data,
my
but
point is, I will be fair and say Showdown does give you a decently, accessible source to go and look at to basically go and look at something.
What bothers me is you claim to want fair, accurate representations of the game, yet you also want, this is an open format, so we'll allow Hidden Power in Scarlet and Violet, even though Hidden Power has been out of Pokemon for generations now. But then, it's open format. And removing Hidden Power is dumb. Pokemon should have never removed it. And then that's just you being sort of hypocritical. And that's sort of my biggest problem with the Smogon community and Showdown, is that you have your head so far up your own assholes that you claim to be an accurate representation of the peak of Pokemon, and yet you refuse to let Hidden Power die and literally made up an open format to let Hidden Power exist in a maxing metagame. It's time for the question of the day and my overall thoughts on the topic. So, how many of you agree that it's a good thing that a Pokemon has its moveset reset when you transfer that Pokemon to a new game? In my opinion, this is one of the best changes they ever implemented, because this basically makes transfer-only moves non-existent, since you can't transfer any moves up into a new game, which I think is fine. However, the downside to this specific change is the fact that certain Pokemon lose out on good stab options or good coverage options and utility moves between games, which does get incredibly old, since a lot of Pokemon arbitrarily become worse since they have yet to create a good, stable, unified list of TMs. And the reason that they refuse to do that, they have said that they liked the variety, so that each game essentially has its own identity when it comes to the TMs and stuff, but from a competitive standpoint and even a casual standpoint, all you're doing is removing options for no reason, which is stupid. So they really need to fix that blunder, but otherwise, this decision is amazing, since this decision prevents old event-only moves from existing on a Pokemon, and that basically means those events no longer hold a weird arbitrary value where you need a specific event to get a move that is basically only on this event. And that's why I was going on that rant about Showdown Salt compilations, since I consider those disingenuous, because making fun of new players for not doing research and knowing that events over the years had moves only those events had access to is so stupid, because no one should need to do that type of research to play competitive Pokemon. And I feel like it is disingenuous to think otherwise, because you're essentially creating a Salt compilation by abusing an old event that people might not be aware of. And all that does is basically use a surprise motherfucker mentality, where you catch someone off guard for not being aware that this Pokemon at one time had an event, and that event had this move, and this move specifically is never allowed on this Pokemon otherwise. And then they had the audacity on Showdown to have the open format essentially use old moves that were deleted from Pokemon, and they basically had to do guesswork in order to just assume how those moves would interact with mechanics, which really does mean you are creating a fantasy Pokemon game, since these moves no longer exist, but you created a format where you let people continue to use these moves. So you just assume these moves will interact with these mechanics in this one specific way, which is incredibly, incredibly stupid, since there's no proof they would, but technically there isn't proof that they also wouldn't work that way. But I just find it funny that the open format essentially creates what I basically jokingly call fantasy Pokemon, because you can combine mechanics with moves that no longer exist, since a bunch of butthurt man-babies never liked that moves like Hidden Power got removed, which is also ridiculous, and I'm happy that move is gone as well. But my main point here, by making it impossible to transfer up a Pokemon and keep all the moves, you essentially level the playing field and no longer require a player to get some weird old event specifically for a stupid competitive advantage, which is always disingenuous. And the only reason those dumb Salt compilations work is because you're picking on people that would have no idea that these random, obscure events and movesets existed in the first place, or that a Pokemon had access to a move one time in an old game and then never again. So technically, you could transfer that Pokemon up from every game and keep a move you really should not have access to. So overall, I'm happy that they basically reset the movesets, but I do want them to fix the inconsistency with TMs, because removing certain options from Pokemon every other game is getting incredibly old. But anyway, you can leave your thoughts, opinions, and answers in the comments, or you can leave them on social media. All of my social media links, as well as my Discord links, are in the video description. Now, as always, I need to be a shill for a minute. If you subscribe to the channel, and if you follow me on social media, that really helps our communities grow. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I hope I will see you all next time. So, as always, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, everybody. I hope you come back someday. See you later.